Hey, this is Mark from Alien Seed Tech. I'm actually Alien Seed Tech. There's nobody else aside from my wonderful beta testers and some other people, but I'm the one doing all the work. So, I've changed this up a bit. I've got some different knobs going on. I've got screams after every Thor, each with the same patch. Pretty basic. And I'm modding parameter 1, 2, and scale via the back here. These are all full up. And I'm modding them via the grids of the bottom 3 crons here. So each one has 4 out, each of these has 3 in, and I've kind of shuffled them around, kind of cycled them around. The right 2 outputs right here are inverted when this toggles on. The top 2 are made unipolar or bipolar, the opposite of whatever it is on the front when that's on. And that goes for all of these other outs. So these are the user custom outputs, so they default to this stuff right here, but you can change them. These are menus, and I've done so with this one here. I've set it to gate 1. So gate 1 is getting this matrix, which is going to turn on and stay on. Basically, when the song starts, look at the LFOs here. All right, so what was I saying? That's going into gate 1 here, and I've got this going to the bottom 2 crons. The top one is triggered by the note. So let me show you the bottom one here. I've got it. Oh. Yeah, it is this one. I'm sorry. I get confused by some of the cron. Still to this day, sometimes I think I find a bug and then I realize, wait, I already added a feature to do what I want to do. Or that's not a bug, I forgot a mod or something stupid. So you have my sympathies or condolences or something. I feel for you. Okay, so point being, it's coming in gate 2 here, gate in 2. So that's second gate. And these are using that via their gate knobs here. So this is the second. Notice the color changes. This would be the third. All right. But the envelope is being triggered by the first gate, which is the note. So the gate ends, they're basically vertical, but the sources are on the side. So it's a line, it's in columns here, but this is in a row, or vice versa. However, whichever thing I'm talking about, it's the opposite right here. That is confusing, but it's a small area. So, the grid. So each of these is, let me play something for a second. So turning on the screen mods, which this is connected to the levels, the grid levels. Let me try a different damage type and make it loud. Turn on the pans. It's pretty basic. I copied another patch here, shifted it around a bit, and they're just being fed into these. Turn it down pretty far. Basically, they're bipolar, and I'm just letting it snap into far left or far right if it happens. So that's why I have the stereo spread, not all the way. Not sure if you'll hear the difference. Oh, I know. So I'm not doing anything fancy here. Like I could be doing something that I am doing down here, which I'll show you on the pitch spread. What I did is I made the opposites, like 1 and 4 and 2 and 3, mod each other right here. LFOs, 4 mirror, and they're going to multiply each other negatively. So basically they'll try to do the opposite of what the other one is doing. So if this is the pitch, then if this one's going up, this one's going down by an approximately equal amount, but at least they're going in opposite directions, so that together they're going to be closer to the true pitch. Before it was diverging a lot, and perhaps all the LFOs would like swing up or swing down, you know, in total. And then it was pretty audible. It sounded like a pretty wild unison. So I was trying to tame it and link it up a bit. And that's controlled right here via mod. So the grids, what I wanted to talk about. This one right here is just averaging the 4 LFOs. This one's multiplying. Then I had to turn on 2 options, multiply scaled, which adds some for each input that's on to a multiply function, and the 8 times level boost. So this is being multiplied by like 32, 16 or something, quite a bit. And you may have to do something like that when you multiply. Depending on your input though, because if they were all on 1, it would be 1. And now it would be like 16, which would be like way, way up here. So it can get flat. But the levels are pretty low, so basically it's like fractions. If all these levels are up, then it'd be wildly jumping around. Alright, so that's multiply. And I think the top one I'm also doing average. Just basic average. Now, alright, so other choices here are min through loop backwards, then crossfaders. But the minimum, all this stuff, let me start on loop. So that is going to use this LFO, which looks a lot like these LFOs rearranged without some parts. So it's got high, mid, low, all of that invert like the LFOs. It's got a level, smooth, frequency, sync, M sync, phase. So that corresponds to here, 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 and here. And level. And this one right here makes it happen every batch. So if I did, say, minimum, as soon as there's an LFO that's below whatever it had chosen, it's going to switch to it. Now, without that on, it's going to be a sudden switch. So if I do random, it's going to be pretty jagged. Now if I use the smooth knob, so that's 200 batches, something like a quarter of a second or something. Although, to be honest, I think that's variable with audio rate. I've never really taken care of that. It's literally how many batches of audio do you smooth it with. Well, alright, so if I turn that on, sorry, it doesn't work with no LFO. If I turn that on, as it switches, it mixes between the two. So it acts like a crossfader, which I haven't quite gotten to yet. But it uses this S-curve. So let me show you the crossfader. Doink, it's a crossfader. And this S curve makes it mix between the two. Curviness, curvy-like, instead of just linearly. Very, very similar to this stuff. It's the same function. If I had a line and I curved it with an S curve, it'd be the same thing that's happening here. So this is a great way to smooth out a fast, let's say, a loop. That's pretty fast. If I turn it off, it looks like a square wave practically. There you can see it's moving around. All right, so let me turn it back to average. There's also a delay, CV delay, which is just added, mixed in to the grid. Let's see, on the back panel, there's a lot of stuff I don't have time to get to, but you got CV ins, your outs, your ins. These are gate ins. It's recommended that you use these gate channels if you're going to trigger via the quants or something else that's on here, like the notes or something. It will save you on latency. And you can rearrange the order of the components via this menu right here. The default is basically using these to trigger these to feed into this, and this to trigger that from this, but that at the end. But you can switch it up. So, what to talk about? The custom waves. So, you can draw these, do all kinds of different things. These are radio toggles, so I can move points around, you can reset everything, start over, try to smooth it out, and let's center it. Now let's normalize it, etc. Say I want to go to wave 2, copy from 1 to 2. Points, number of points, all the way up to 32 on those waves. On these, it's up to 64. And on this one, it's all 128. But that's, in reality, 1, 2, 3, and 4 combined. There's a grid align here, so if I had done, let's see, there are 21 points here. Let's snap it to a 16 by 16 grid. So if I had these on and I drew or moved things around, it would then snap. But I'm going to choose the Align tool and click, and it rearranged it. It also got rid of some points. When it sticks some points together and it has extra, it gets rid of them. Oops. Anywho. So, smooth, you can turn that into a linear thingy. You can make them steps. And there's other uses for this via this section right here, note quantizing and pattern sequencing, but I don't have time to get to that. What did I not cover? It's also got a width knob. Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you. That can be used as a note sequencer. So basically, if I did this, now I could draw a scale. So that would be an octave, every octave, with a fifth in there, etc. There's weighted versions. And then over here, pattern sequencing, I could turn this on. Let's say I don't use this anymore for that. And now I can trigger the quants via a pattern, which I have not talked about yet, the quants. But, anywho, point being, those waveforms can be used for multiple things. They can mod the LFOs in different ways, be used as the LFOs, etc. Okay, I'm running out of time. Stay tuned till part 3. Later.